Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second webinar in our Fostering Collaborative Relationships, IPRC and IEP, hosted by the Special Education Advisory Committee, also known as SEAC. The chair of SEAC, Lorraine Ciparoni, is unwell this evening and sends her apologies. My name is Diane Rabenda, and I am the current vice chair of SEAC. I am joined here today by many of the members who will have the pleasure of introducing themselves to you in the next short while. As a matter of housekeeping, we are not taking questions live due to the privacy and sensitivity of our students, but we ask instead that you send questions to SEAC at hcdsb.org so that we can address them. We will also be posting the most common general questions with responses on our SEAC webpage on the Halton Catholic District School Board site in the very near future. For our agenda, first, we will review who your SEAC representatives are. Second, we will discuss what the Identification, Placement and Review Committee is, and conclude with information on the individual education plan. Again, a reminder to email any questions that you have to SEAC, SEAC at hcdsb.org. Before we begin, let us reintroduce your Special Education Advisory Committee.
Hello, my name is Maria Lorenko, and I am the representative for the Association for Bright Children, also known as ABC. We represent gifted students. Giftedness is defined as an unusually advanced degree of general intellectual ability that requires differentiated learning experiences of a depth and breadth beyond those normally provided in the regular school program to satisfy the level of education potential indicated. Contrary to popular belief, not all bright and gifted students flourish without special help. Many deliberately limit their achievement to gain peer acceptance. Others become bored and disengaged, becoming a problem in the classroom. Most regular assignments provide little challenge for bright and gifted children and youth, and they become accustomed to working below their capacity. Some turn off to such an extent that they are identified as having behavior or learning problems. Even those who appear to be doing well in school may be using only a small part of their abilities. All children and youth, including the bright and gifted, deserve to be accepted for who they are and to have the opportunity to realize their potential as fully as possible. If you have a bright or gifted child or believe that you may, we hope that you will reach out to the organization or to me personally as your SEAC representative to learn more. And my email is available on the slide currently in front of you, lorenkoowen@hotmail.com. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Stevenson, and I am the representative for Autism Ontario Halton chapter. Our alternative representative is Laura Curry. Our vision is acceptance and opportunities for all individuals with autism spectrum disorders. Our mission is to ensure that each individual with ASD is provided the means to achieve quality of life as a respected member of society. We have our 6 key areas of focus, and they are advocacy and support, research, best practices, government relations, public awareness, and governance. Autism Ontario is the leading source of information and referral on autism and one of the largest collective voices representing the autism community. Members are connected through a volunteer network of chapters throughout the province of Ontario. We are guided by a board of directors composed primarily of parents of individuals with autism, plus a host of volunteers and respected professionals who provide expertise and guidance to the organization on a volunteer basis. Autism Ontario is dedicated to increasing public awareness about autism and the day-to-day issues faced by individuals with autism, their families, and the professionals with whom they interact. The association and its chapters share common goals of providing information and education, supporting research, and advocating for programs and services for the autism community. Through our programs and 25 chapters, we provide family supports, training and workshops, social learning opportunities for children, summer camp, and much more. Stay connected. Don't miss out on Halton chapter events. Email halton@autismontario.com and ask to be added to our email list for news and events. And be sure to like our Autism Ontario Halton chapter Facebook page and turn your notifications on so you don't miss out. We can be found at www.facebook.com/autismhalton.
Hello, my name is Brenda Agnew and I am the representative for Easter Seals Ontario. Our alternative representative is Chris Pereira. Easter Seals offers programs and services to help children and youth with physical disabilities achieve a greater level of acceptance and independence. In Ontario, there are over 20,000 children and youth with a physical disability, some born with cerebral palsy and spina bifida, some with spinal cord or brain injuries resulting from childhood accidents, others having sustained brain damage through infections like encephalitis and meningitis. Regardless of the cause of the physical disability, Easter Seals is committed to helping all children and youth with physical disabilities meet their common goal of independence, acceptance, and achievement. Supportive services to achieve this end include financial assistance for mobility equipment and communication devices, fully accessible camp experiences, and funding for other summer recreational programs, information and resources, and public education and awareness.
Hi, my name is Dan Hotopalano, and I'm the representative for the Halton Down Syndrome Association. The Halton Down Syndrome Association is a non-profit, volunteer, self-help organization working to improve the quality of life for people with Down syndrome. Our membership base of approximately 130 include parents, professionals, and self-advocates. We offer newsletters, monthly email bulletins, a website, support for new parents, social and networking events, advocacy support, and access to resources. We have representation on the Special Education Advisory Committees on both the Halton Public and Halton Catholic School Board. Our mission is to help the individuals with Down syndrome reach their true potential and full enjoyment of life.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Cannell, and I am the representative for Voice for Hearing Impaired Children. My alternate for Voice is Rick Barrero. Voice for Hearing Impaired Children will ensure that all children with hearing loss have the necessary educational supports in order to be successful in their mainstream classrooms. As the Voice SEAC representative for the past 15 years, it is my responsibility to ensure that the Halton Catholic District School Board Special Education Department is aware of current trends and developments as they take place in the community for children with hearing loss. It is also my responsibility to continue to advocate for special education programs and services on behalf of all children with special needs within our school communities.
Hello, my name is Joanne Parisi, and I currently occupy one of two member-at-large positions. The second member-at-large position is held by Lorraine Ciparoni. As a member-at-large, we are appointed into the role by the board, and we don't formally represent any local organization.
Hello, my name is Diane Rabenda, and along with Arlene Ian Tomasi, we are your school board trustees who sit on SEAC. The two alternate trustees are Helena Carabella and Susan Price.
Regardless of which associations are represented at the SEAC table, all SEAC members work together to support all students regardless of ability. However, the board is always looking for incorporated parent associations to join its SEAC. If your association meets the requirements and there is no other association currently represented that is similar to the population of students you represent, then we encourage you to apply for consideration of membership. More information can be found on our website at
http://www.hc-dsp.org/pages/board-invites-applications-for-board. Now for the IPRC and IEP portion of the webinar. What is advocacy? Advocacy is the act of being informed and knowing when to speak in favor of someone or something. It also refers to the act of offering support. Advocacy is all about partnerships and relationships. What is an advocate? The role of advocate can be the most rewarding journey for a parent. It allows you the opportunity to form a unique partnership with the school to ensure your child achieves his or her personal best, enjoys learning in a positive and supportive environment, and most importantly, experiences success. Sometimes the term advocate can be misinterpreted to mean adversarial. Our approach to advocacy is focused on partnership and positive relationships. Relationships are so important to success in schools. Partnering effectively with schools and school staff means open, honest conversations and a shared commitment to student success. The teacher and the CERT are the most intimately involved in programming and planning on a daily basis with your child, and as such, a collaborative and positive relationship is vital. An advocate who is relational and partnership focused will accomplish amazing things on behalf of their child. Your goal as an advocate is to develop a strong team collaboration between school and home. The Education Act. It defines the terms, provides the authority to the minister to establish regulations as required, and gives the ministry direction in the writing of policy and program memoranda, documents, and guidelines to the school boards and school authorities.
Regulation 298, the operation of schools under the Education Act. It details out the qualifications for special education teachers and the maximum class sizes for various types of special education classes. In particular, Regulation 181/98, identification and placement of exceptional students, requires that all school boards set up an identification, placement, and review committee, also known as IPRC, and also requires that an IEP be developed for every student identified as exceptional by an IPRC.
The IPRC, Identification, Placement, and Review Committee. So again, school boards are required to set up an IPRC. IPRCs make significant decisions regarding the education of students with special education needs. The IPRC identifies the areas of the student's exceptionality and decides on the most appropriate placement for the student. As a parent, you may request an IPRC if one is not recommended by your board. The IPRC is a built-in mechanism for review of your child's program and his or her progress. The purpose of the IPRC is to decide whether or not your child should be identified as exceptional. A lot of information is considered and discussed when making this decision. Example assessments, parent and teacher observations. If your child is exceptional, the committee has to identify the area or areas of exceptionality according to the definitions of exceptionalities. The current ministry defined categories of exceptionalities are behavior, communication, which incorporates learning disabled, autism, deaf and hard of hearing, or a language impairment. Intellectual, which is gifted, developmentally delayed, and mild intellectually delayed. Physical, representing physical disability plus blind, low vision. Or multiple, which is 2 or more of the above. The IPRC has to decide on a special education placement for your child. A placement defines how and where the special education program will be delivered. There are 5 ranges of placement options for students. In option 1, a regular class with indirect support. The CERT is providing support to the teacher, for example, how to accommodate on a test. The student is placed in a regular class for the entire day, and the teacher receives specialized consultative services. In option 2, which is a regular class with resource assistant, a CERT goes into the classroom and supports the student. The CERT supports the students in their accommodation. The student is placed in a regular class for most or all of the day and receives specialized instruction individually or in a small group within the regular classroom from a qualified special education teacher. Option 3 is a regular class with withdrawal assistance, where a CERT withdraws the student to support them in an alternative program, less than 50% of the day. The student is placed in the regular class and receives instruction outside of the classroom for less than 50% of the school day from a qualified special education teacher. Students placed in a special education class with partial integration participate in a regular class program with their age-appropriate peers. for example, in subjects such as religion and gym. The student is placed by the IPRC in a special education class where the student-teacher ratio conforms to Regulation 298, Section 31 for at least 50% of the school day, but is integrated with a regular class for at least one instructional period daily. Students who are placed in a full-time special education classroom receive full support. The student is placed by the IPRC in a special education class where the student-teacher ratio conforms to the Regulation 298, Section 31 for the entire school day. The placement chosen must be in the best interest of the student and must take into consideration the parent's wishes.
Sample IPRC Statement of Decision. Whatever the IPRC has decided will be given to you in a written statement of decision as per the sample on the screen. This statement of decision will tell you whether or not your child was identified as exceptional, and if so, the category of exceptionality according to the categories and definitions of exceptionalities. The statement of decision will also indicate the recommended placement. Another key feature of the statement of decision is that it lists your child's strengths and needs and the IPRC's recommendations about the programs and services your child may need. You will be asked to sign your name to the statement of decision. You are not obligated to sign your consent at the IPRC meeting, but can take more time to consider your decision. The statement of decision may be taken home and then returned. If you sign consent to the statement of decision and your child has been identified exceptional, the principal of the school at which the special education program is to be provided will be notified to begin the process of developing an individual education plan, IEP, for your child. The IEP. The IEP stands for the Individual Education Plan, a written plan describing the special education program and/or services required by your particular child based on the thorough assessment of the student's strengths and needs. As stated in Regulation 181-98, an IEP must be developed for every student identified by an IPRC. An IEP contains specific objectives and/or expectations along with an outline of special education services that meet the needs of the exceptional student. It is a plan for student progress. It is a relevant working document and can be modified at any time. An IEP is not a description of everything that will be taught to that student, a list of all the teaching strategies used in regular classroom instruction, a document that records all learning expectations, including those that are not modified from the regular grade level curriculum expectations, a daily lesson plan.
Identified, non-identified. As a recap, a student that is identified falls under one of the ministry-defined categories of 1, behavior, 2, communication, which includes learning disability, autism, deaf and hard of hearing, or language impairment, 3, intellectual, which includes gifted, developmentally delayed, or mildly intellectually delayed, 4, physical, which includes physical disabilities or blind low vision, or 5, multiple, which is 2 or more of the above. We recognize that there is a need for modification or accommodation for non-identified students for their success in their learning, so an IEP can be developed for them as well. What are the steps in the IEP process?
The following are the steps in the IEP process. Number 1, gather information. Number 2, set the direction. Number 3, develop the IEP as it relates to the student's special education program and services. Number 4, implement the IEP. And number 5, review and update the IEP. So now we're going to break down each one for you.
Gather information. The first step is to gather information. This is where the student's records are reviewed and consultations occur with the student, the parents or guardians, school staff, and any other professionals such as speech, language pathologists, psychologists, etc. The student can also be observed in a variety of settings, and if deemed necessary, further assessments to help better understand the student needs can be conducted. All the information is then consolidated and reviewed.
Number 2, set the direction. The IEP process
is to be a collaborative undertaking, and all members of the IEP team should be working together in the best interest of the student. At this stage, the IEP is started with the high-level data, and also the student's area of strength and areas of needs are listed.
The third stage is the development of the IEP. The student's day is broken down by subject and course, and it is determined if that student will require modifications, accommodations, or alternative programming. Also recorded are information on teaching strategies, assessment methods, evaluation, reporting, and will include a transition plan if required.
Accommodations versus modifications. What is the difference between an accommodation and a modification? Accommodations, which refer to the special teaching and assessment strategies, human supports, and/or individualized equipment. Accommodations can help kids learn the same material and meet the same expectations as their classmates. If a student has reading issues, for example, she might listen to an audio recording of a text. There are different types of classroom accommodations, including presentation, like listening to an audio recording of a text, and setting, like where a student sits. Modifications are changes in the age and/or grade appropriate expectations for a student. For an example, increasing or decreasing the number and/or complexities of the regular grade level curriculum expectations. Kids who are far behind their peers may need changes or modifications to the curriculum. For example, a student could be assigned a shorter or easier reading assignment. Kids who receive modifications are not expected to learn the same material as their classmates. These would be determined with parent and student consultation. An accommodation is a change to normal teaching practice to help the child achieve the provincial expectations for that grade level or to have their individual learning needs met. Again, for example, a child with learning disabilities might require a controlled, quiet environment in which to write tests, or a hearing impaired child might need a personal FM system and/or a sound field system. A gifted child might need less practice work, a compacted curriculum, and more time to investigate topics in depth. A modification is a change to a learning expectation such that the student will be working towards the provincial expectations of a lower or higher grade level. Again, learning expectations can be modified in a number or complexity. For example, a grade 5 student identified with a developmental disability may be working on a limited number of the simpler learning expectations of the grade 1 English curriculum in reading. A gifted child may have their work reduced in some areas to allow for more complex assignments in other areas that provide additional challenge, or they may be accelerated in one or more subjects. The following chart lists examples of accommodations for instruction, such as duplicated notes, mind maps, environmental, such as special lighting, proximity to instructor, and assessment accommodations, such as extended time limits, computer options, etc. This chart, however, is not all-encompassing.
Implement the IEP. After the IEP is completed, it needs to be shared with the student, parents, school staff, and any other professionals as required and also put into practice. The student has to be continually assessed, and if adjustments are needed to the IEP due to changes in goals, expectations, teaching strategies, or any other reason, then adjustments are completed.
At the beginning of each reporting period, the IEP learning expectations should be reviewed and updated based on the student's needs. A copy of the IEP is placed in the student's Ontario student record. Also included will be a transition plan.
Sample IEP. Shown on the screen is a sample IEP letter. The IEP details out any formal assessments that have been shared in informing the IEP, the areas of strengths and needs, any resources required or support required from an HR perspective or equipment perspective, any courses, subjects, or alternative programming that the student requires. What are the steps in the IEP process?
IEP Positive Partnerships. As a parent, you have a vital role to play in the creation of the IEP. Your input matters, as does the professional judgment, appropriate academic, psychological, and medical information. If you have questions about the contents of the IEP, its creation or implementation, the school is the best way to resolve or clarify. The classroom teacher or the school CERT are the most direct contact at the school. They are responsible for working through the IEP with you and are most intimately involved with the implementation of the IEP on a daily basis. Their partnership is so important for the ongoing success in the classroom and throughout the school. The school principal is ultimately responsible for the creation of the IEPs and ensuring they are being followed faithfully. The principal can also be a tremendous advocate and source of support when it comes to questions or concerns about the IEP. The school is also supported by special education consultants who provide system leadership and are happy to work side by side with you and the school to resolve any issues, work through situations as positively and productively as possible.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us in learning about IPRCs and IEPs. Should you have any questions, feel free to send them to seac@hcdsb.org, and we hope that you join us at our upcoming meetings and seminars. Thank you and have a great evening.